Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today. Welcome to our very first Sandbox park. This is episode 1 of our first Sandbox project in Jurassic World Evolution 2. We have been trying to unlock Sandbox for a little while now on the channel because previously, if you were unaware, before yesterday, you would have had to complete basically all of challenge mode or chaos mode or a combination of the two in order to unlock everything and have it available for Sandbox. So all the dinosaurs, all the skins, a lot of the different maps, stuff like that. So with the update that came out yesterday alongside the Camp Cretaceous DLC, that is no longer. So as of yesterday, we are able to build in Sandbox, even though I have not completed all of the challenge mode maps or challenge mode scenarios, which is fantastic. You guys know, if you're not new to the channel, I am a very creative builder. We love playing Planet Zoo and creating beautiful parks and really going crazy with the detail and all that kind of stuff. I do like playing Jurassic World Evolution 2. I will continue to stream it and unlock the rest of like the skins and things like that, just for sake of fun. But I was really disappointed in that the first game, as well as when the second game came out, they still locked Sandbox behind this play barrier. And I really don't feel like that was catering to the entire audience that is interested in Jurassic World Evolution 2, because you cut off all of these people that want to just play in Sandbox. They're not necessarily interested in the management. It kind of cuts off a lot of their fan base, I think. So I was really excited that with the update, they got rid of that, because it is something that the community has been asking for a really long time. So it's nice when the developers do listen to their community, listen to what people are asking for, and then they deliver on that. So that being said, we are in the California map. Being that I have grown up and lived in California my entire life, and Yosemite is one of my favorite places to go camping, vacation at, I thought it was only fitting, as well as I wanted to pick a more alpine-y map, because a lot of the decorative pieces that we got, specifically the wonderful single trees that you can see me placing here, are all very alpine Sakura. Not Sakura, sorry, that's Sakura is the Planet Zoo project that I have going on. Sequoia, very alpine-y feeling. So that's what I wanted to go with, just because it really does match the aesthetic of the map. The Pennsylvania map is one of my favorite maps, but these trees would stick out like a sore thumb, and unfortunately we don't have the single placeable trees that would match that biome. So the goal for this park, what I wanted to do is really have a stark contrast between front stage and backstage stuff. And I am able to do that by, you'll see here, this kind of like Main Street area has a couple facilities, or not facilities, a couple amenities, some seating areas. It's got a hotel, it's got a monorail, eventually we'll get to there, a couple restrooms, stuff like that. And I'm using all of the normal like amenity stuff, but then using the kind of Jurassic World style buildings out here. And then when we get to it, when we go backstage to the backstage area, we're going to switch and use a lot of the DSW stuff. So that way there is a stark contrast between these kind of more industrial or utilitarian looking buildings and the Jurassic World looking, you know, pretty theme parky buildings out front. Another thing that I wanted to do with this front stage area, or this main street, is a lot of Sandbox parks that I have seen so far are all very symmetrical. I think that is the thing to do in Jurassic World Evolution 2. You know, you've got a straight line. Sometimes it ends in the, what is that big triangular building called? Not the Expedition Center, Exploration Center. You guys know what I'm talking about. That big triangular building that is perfect for a centerpiece, because you can put a path all the way around it and connect the path in a bunch of different places. But I wanted to get away from that. I wanted to get away from like this straight line that like dead ends into a big building, or get away from parks that have the exact same thing on either side. So like an amenity on the right and an amenity on the left, and vice versa, you know, going all the way down, like having this very straight main street. So you can see that I did start off that way. I have an amenity on the right and amenity on the left, but then it goes into like a little seating area. There's a bathroom on the left-hand side. Then there is an attraction on the right-hand side. Then we put the hotel on the left, and that way it kind of just gives it, in my opinion, some interest. Don't get me wrong, absolutely love symmetrical things, and I'm doing my very best to keep these paths very neat and tidy, 90-degree angles, or like not having them be all wonky, because I do add some variation in here just a little bit to make sure that it's not super just, 90-degree angles, boxes, squares, things like that. But I wanted to do a little bit different in that way. So trying to keep it not so super symmetrical on either side. You can see here I am starting on the backstage stuff. And another thing that came to Sandbox, if you did not catch up with the update, is the fact that we don't need scientists anymore. And I can turn off all the needs of the dinosaurs, which is absolutely fantastic. So we do end up doing our first habitat in this episode now, in this episode here, but I don't worry too much about what the dinosaurs would actually need if we were playing the game, which is perfect, because for me personally, when I do play a sandbox mode in any game, I really do want it to be a true sandbox. I want to be able just to make things because I think they look pretty and not because the animal needs them or anything like that. So music to my ears in that we can turn all that off. But here, again, the backstage area, just kind of placing down what we would need. So there's like a staff center, a control center, a response facility, and then also a hatchery, of course, because you still do need the hatchery to make sure that you can put the dinosaurs in the exhibits and things like that. So now I am just decorating the backstage area, and we got a ton of placeable pieces that fit perfectly with the DSW stuff. So lots of just empty shipping containers, or I mean, maybe they're not empty, they're shipping containers. We got this wonderful concrete little barrier wall here. Lots of like bins and barrels and little tents and all sorts of stuff. And so you can see I'm just kind of stacking it here because I would imagine there would just be kind of like, not random stuff, but just kind of stuff sitting around, right, that they use to care for the dinosaurs. We've got a few dinosaur carriers, or shouldn't call them carriers, cages, transport cages for them. Lots of stuff here in the center. I brought out the Velociraptor pen just to look at it. I wasn't going to put it down, but I think it looks really cool. So just going through, and then of course adding all the single trees in between to add a little bit more detail. And I love the fact that the trees and the bushes don't necessarily really have massive hitboxes, so you can get them really close to the paths, really close to the buildings, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that that's absolutely phenomenal. That was one of the biggest complaints I had about the terrain painting brush, or the foliage painting brush, is that you would paint it down and there would very clearly be enough room for a tree, but the paintbrush just would not place a tree in the center where you wanted it. It was very frustrating, but we don't have to deal with that anymore because we have the single placeable trees. So just making sure it looks very overgrown. I really wanted this to look like it was a park that is in the wilderness. And yes, it's obviously open to the public. It's going to be kind of like a theme park or an entertainment park. But I wanted to make it look like it was as least intrusive as it can be. Does that make sense? So like, I didn't want it to be like the builders of this park came in and just like leveled the place and like chopped down all the trees and leveled the terrain and just like built from scratch. So I did actually keep all the terrain what it would normally be if you open up this park. So I didn't use the flattened terrain feature. So we do have some height variation here. And then I wanted to keep as many trees as possible. I really wanted to make it feel like you were walking through the forest and you were kind of in the habitat with the dinosaurs, so to speak, I guess, that it was really just natural and overgrown in a sense. And that was kind of my idea for this whole park in general. So now as we get to the dinosaur habitat, another thing that I really wanted to do is, this is completely useless. It is just for looks only, but I added a couple little like catch pens or little transfer pens outside the hatchery. So it would be, you know, if in real life we had, you know, dinosaur parks and they needed to move dinosaurs around or whatever the case was, is that they can, you know, they can open one gate, let the dinosaur through, close it, then open another gate, let it into the habitat, and then you can kind of shuffle animals around without having to put them into the same enclosures and everything. So that I wanted to add that just for a little bit of extra detail, but now we're working on the habitat itself. Now in this habitat, I wrote it down. Where are my notes? Here they are. I wrote it down. So we have the Ouranosaurus, the Ankylosaurus, and the Brachiosaurus. So I decided to put these three animals in there because, well, one, I really wanted to use the new bumpy skin. So the Ankylosaurus with the bumpy skin, we do put one of those in there. So I think there's like 3 or 4 in total. There might be only 3. But anyway, a couple of them have like just random Ankylosaurus skins, and then one of them has the bumpy variant skin. And then the Ouranosaurus, I did use the Camp Cretaceous skin, or the Camp Cretaceous variant, because one, I think the pattern and the color and the texture on it looks phenomenal, but it's also slightly smaller. And what I really wanted to do was have like a really big herbivore, a slightly smaller herbivore, and then a slightly smaller herbivore after that. I was kind of treating it like I would like a fish tank. So like animals that fill different niches, so different heights of their environment. I know that's not necessarily true, and it doesn't really translate to exactly how I'm thinking about it, but that was just kind of my thought process behind it. I probably could have added some like Strythiomymesis or Gallimimuses or something like that to fill in that like even tinier, or maybe even some like Dryosauruses or Homocephaly or something like that. But I kind of wanted this to be like more of a bigger herbivore habitat. Now, I have absolutely no knowledge on any of these 3 dinosaurs, where they were found in the world, you know, where we think they would have lived way back long ago when they were actually walking the earth. So I could totally be wrong in that these guys would have never gotten along, should not be housed together. But to be honest, I just picked them because 2 of them were the newest ones, and then the Brachiosaurus is one of my favorite, and I wanted the height. I'm trying to deal with the guests there. For some reason, they like formed this little mob and they wouldn't go away. They wouldn't like disperse. They like insisted on walking in this circle and just kind of gathering their like little ants. I ended up leaving them, and I don't actually know if they dispersed or not. But anyway, that's what I was trying to do. Back to the animals. So you guys can let me know down in the comments what you think about those 3 animals. If anybody has like major issue with it, if they just would not get along in real life or whatever the case may be, let me know. Maybe we can switch them up. But that is going to be our first habitat. And then the second thing you can let me know is what should be in our second habitat. So I don't have my heart set on any specific dinosaur species or anything like that. So if you guys have a favorite that you want to see, please do let me know. I do want to keep it to maybe a smaller, less big ticket dinosaur just to start. I want to put the carnivores and kind of maybe some of the more exciting animals towards into the park a little bit, just to kind of keep that realism, and that you don't really put your lions and bears and things like that right at the front of your zoo. You put them towards the back and encourage people to walk all through the park, spend more money, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you guys have a certain animal that you would really love to see, let me know. We are just about finishing up here, and I am just adding a little bit of detail. What I would really like, my next want for JWE2 is smaller decorative fences. So I'm using these fences as like a way, like, don't go over there, that's the monorail, kind of fencing it off so that it's, you know, that's, we're going to plant trees and it's kind of like an overgrown part of the park, but it's really tall, obviously, because it's still a habitat fence. So I would love some really small decorative fences. That would be fantastic. But anyway, we are approaching the end of the video. There is going to be a few little end cinematics here. I hope you guys did enjoy. I had so much fun building, and I can't wait for episode 2. If you did enjoy the video, leaving a like really does help me out, and I greatly do appreciate it. And of course, hitting that subscribe button if you're interested in keeping up with this project as well as any other Jurassic World Evolution 2 content. And yeah, I don't really have anything else for you guys. So I really enjoyed the episode. Again, I hope you did too. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.